No Film School's NAB 2022 coverage is brought to you by Blackmagic Design and Creative Solutions, which consists of Small HD, Teradek, and Wooden Camera, and Atomos.
We are here with Dan May, Blackmagic Design. You guys have some exciting cloud products this year. You have different ways to connect. Tell us what you're bringing to NAB 2022.
Yeah, it's an exciting year for us, obviously, to be back at NAB and be able to show people in person what we've been doing. And of course, we'd like to start with DaVinci Resolve 18 because it's such a center cornerstone to everything that Blackmagic is doing these days. You know, we've spent so much time with DaVinci Resolve trying to empower kind of creative individuals all over the world. And this year's kind of about how are we going to connect all of those people together. And that's where kind of the Blackmagic Cloud solution comes into play. Now, the pandemic kind of showed everybody that we have to be able to work remotely and how do we connect with people. And that's not a new thing, but we're looking towards the future about how do we connect talent around the globe, how do we make this easier, not make it such an IT burden to everybody to be able to connect. So while DaVinci Resolve 18 has lots of great new features in it, new Resolve effects, new Fairlight audio, new VFX for the Fusion, the cloud is kind of where we want to stick to right now just to be able to talk about what's going on there. So it's important to understand a couple different things about the solution because the Blackmagic Cloud in and of itself is actually just a website where everyone can go ahead and log in and create an account, and that will let people work on the same timeline at the same time. Now, one person has to pay $5 to be able to host that project library, and that's a key point there. We don't want to have everybody have to pay into a subscription model, but we do need to cover some costs for being able to host that project library. Now, the nice part there is that means I can have a colorist in India, I can have an editor in South America, and I could be working in the US, and we can all be working on the same timeline at the same time. And that's really kind of the key part of that Blackmagic Cloud. But there's lots of other things that kind of play into that. How are you dealing with all of your media? Because right now, if it's small enough, maybe I could just email that to you, or maybe I can just put it on a Google Cloud account. But the other thing we've done in Resolve 18 is we created this new app for an actual proxy generator, and this will take all of your camera raw files and it will turn it into H.264 or H.265 proxies, so that now I have a watchful that's automatically making those so that people are working in those smaller proxies to be a lot faster. Cool, that helps with that part. But now we want to think about, boy, all of the storage out there, it's not really designed for video. We've got, great terabytes and terabytes of drives out there that I can buy for pretty cost effective, but they're loud and they're slow. And if I'm just moving data, not that big a deal. But we're talking about TV, film, and television. We need really high performance drives. And that's where we start getting into our Blackmagic Cloud Store products. And what's really amazing about these products is not only can I have this where I can sit on a local network and I can be using this kind of shared network with a big Blackmagic Cloud, I can have multiple places of these across the globe, and they'll be syncing the projects with each other using the Blackmagic Cloud itself. So one person can be working in, again, the US and have all of their media locally, and someone can be somewhere else in the globe with a Blackmagic Cloud Store, and those files will be syncing with each other as we're making those changes. So it's a big year for us because we're talking about having both a software update, introducing this new Blackmagic Cloud concept, and then putting hardware alongside of that is going to give you that high performance that we really need for being able to handle the data for television, film, and video. And that's kind of the big push that we're making this year around the Resolve 18 launch.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year and a half just because so many productions were forced to go remote, where the DP sometimes is working off-site and just telling a gaffer somewhere else to pan a light, 2 inches. But then it's like, well, what do you do with all the data? So you seem to have invented a solution for us. How many nodes, how many people can get into a project?
Yeah, so this is an important part for us right now. Right now, like I said, only the one person that is hosting the project library will pay that $5 per month to host the project library. Now, obviously, if you're hosting more project libraries, so, hey, I want you working on this commercial, I want somebody else working on a different commercial, those are two different project libraries. So that one person's paying that $5 per project library. Now, each project library, at this point, we have 10 users have access to that library. So we're kind of capping that for now at 10. We can see what point where we're going to want to have more, but this is all kind of in beta. We want to make sure we roll it out. We have our hands around it. Everyone else has their hands around it. But we feel like 10's a pretty good number to be starting with, unless you get into a really heavy VFX where you suddenly start going crazy there. But to your point, that's exactly right. We've proved through the pandemic that there's this need. We're not necessarily trying to solve the pandemic problems, but we are looking at how do I connect all these great creative individuals that are now using Resolve across the globe, and how do we get them working together all on the same timeline using media that's very easy without having to invest 10 IT guys into working through a solution there. And that's what we're really happy to be showing people this week.
Now, as far as latency, somebody makes a change on a timeline, somebody changes a node in Resolve, how quickly is that reflected across the project?
Yeah, ideally, if you're using those proxies, everything's going to be syncing in the background if people both have a Blackmagic Cloud Store on both those ends. So what you'll see is suddenly they'll make that change, and someone on the person who's created the project library, they'll see that change is made, and they can preview that change and they can accept that change. So that should all happen relatively quickly. Now, there's different things that can happen based off your own ISP and things of that nature, but the idea here is that because we're constantly uploading in the background, we can favor using proxies over the whole full camera raw files. This should be really quite snappy for everybody. What's also really nice is that on the actual larger Blackmagic Cloud Store product, we have 4 10G Ethernet ports there. So if I have somebody that's working, if I have a small group that's working remotely, they can all plug in via the 10G Ethernet and they can all be working off of one set. So if I'm uploading all of my footage somewhere else, rather than having 4 people having to download across these different things, I can have one central download with multiple machines at the same time working. So we've tried to create options where we have this large cloud store, which is this 20 terabyte unit. We have a smaller cloud store mini, which is an 8 terabyte unit, and then we have a cloud pod unit, which actually you just plug your own drives in. But all of these units function the same, so that you can get that same up-down, being able to work together seamlessly. Because not everyone's going to just invest 20 or 80 terabyte system off the bat. They already have drives, and we want to make this a flexible system for people. We're not forcing you into, you have to buy into this big subscription model, you have to buy all of our hardware, you have to. We're trying to give people as many options as they can so they have that flexibility to find the workflow that works for them.
Oh, that's great. So the different size cloud stores, I mean, I assume they're different physical sizes as well.
That's right.
Do they? Is it mobile enough to take to a production? Is it on wheel? Like
certainly.
Yeah.
So our large cloud store unit is actually just a little tower that looks a lot like our old eGPU units that we were producing there. So that is actually a pretty portable unit. I'm not sure how much you'll want to be moving that, but the actual hyperdeck, it looks like a hyperdeck. Our cloud store mini is just a little actual single RU box, so you could put that in something that's moving around. And then the actual cloud pod unit is just a small box device, very portable. You bring your own drives and you set that up. One of the other great parts about all of these units is they have an HDMI output on them, so you'll be able to see a graphical interface of what your actual storage device is doing as it's syncing if the users are online. We've really added great professional for video professionals on these type of storage solutions, but again, really taking advantage of the new Blackmagic Cloud.
I mean, Blackmagic to me has always had some of the best user interfaces, whether it's within Resolve, whether it's within your cameras. I assume that's existing in the Cloud Store projects. Like, what is that? Take me through a project workflow. Somebody, let's say we do, we have a colorist working in another country, and we're on set shooting here. We've got our team together, did a great job. High fives. Audio guy downloaded his footage in the Starbucks afterwards, and we're ready to go.
So in an ideal situation, one person's going to go ahead, everyone's going to create their Blackmagic Cloud account. So we want everyone to have that account, and that's the free account where everyone can have. One person who's going to actually host the library, and that hosted library is just going to sit on a server in California or whatnot somewhere there. But they're going to go ahead and create that library, and they're going to call it Dan's NAB Resolve Demo, and that's going to be the library everyone's going to be working off of there. So that just goes ahead and creates like how many timelines am I going to have, all of the data but that doesn't have to do anything with the media there. That's where we get into the Blackmagic Cloud Store or other solutions to be able to have, hey, we're going to get all this media, we're going to sync all this media together. You as the colorist, you're going to work on these. You as the editor, you'll work on proxies off of that proxy generator. I, as the originator of that library, I'm going to put all of your emails in so that it invites you to my project, and that's how you get in. It's not like anybody can just get into that project.
Sure.
I'm putting your emails in, it sends you a link. It's going to now link your Blackmagic Cloud into this library, so now you have access to doing that. And that's kind of how that works. You'll see all the files. If you're using the Blackmagic Cloud Store, you'll see all of your database stuff based off of the Blackmagic Cloud. And we have a really cool feature in there as well, where we're able to actually review all of the clips that are in there, so we can get on. There's a video camera feedback. It's just via a website that we're using, so I can say, hey, let's go through these VFX shots. That explosion's too bright. We need to tone that down, add some notes. And this is just all part of this great workflow about how are we going to connect people that can't be in the same place or that want to work with people. I mean, how many times have we seen this great video that came out of Vietnam, and I'd love to work with that colorist? These are the kind of tools that are going to allow all of this new post-production workflow to kind of move forward in the future.
Is it live now? When can I get on? Like, I'm salivating over here.
So DaVinci Resolve 18 is beta. We put beta on it on Monday. The Blackmagic Cloud is up for everybody to log into. Now, the one hiccup we have right now is the only people that can actually get into hosting a library in the US because of the payment methods. So we've rolled that out for the US currently. Our plan is to roll that out into other countries as we're able to kind of get going here. So our hope is to get EMEA and Australia and roll more countries out to be able to be the hosters of the project library. But everybody right now can do the actual log into the Blackmagic Cloud and create an account. The two smaller of the Blackmagic Cloud Store products are available now. The pods and the minis have started shipping. The Blackmagic Cloud Store, the larger of the units, should be shipping out in Q2.
Oh, great. And what kind of stuff are you looking forward to people creating? Like what is the most like bizarre, spindle of different people hooking up to a cloud-hosted project? What have you seen? What do you want to see?
I think the one thing that we've learned over time is that every time we think we understand what our customers are going to use our projects for, we find people that are using them for much different or original ideas that we just possibly couldn't think of. And that's one of the great parts about NAB when we come to a show like this is we say, look, I could see a small student film where these folks are trying to work together and they're going to do it like this. And then we'll find people that have done this in a different way or they've got different projects. And that's the amazing part when you build these kind of tools that are really about empowering creatives. And that's the fun part to see what people do and how they create. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that coming off the back end of NAB.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like Blackmagic, when somebody took the Pocket and used it in Mad Max Fury Road, it's like, oh my God, like that, a tool has been created and now it's just up to us to figure out how to use it. I can't wait to use it. What I want to do is like that thing where there's this colorist I met on Facebook who's in some country. I don't even know which country he's in. And it's like, oh, bro, I would love to work with you. And it's like,
and then you find out it's a 13-year-old girl, and it doesn't really matter because their work is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the great part about these type of tools is that it's no longer about I have to go to that brick and mortar person that's been doing it for 50 years. It's great, they're talented. We know that there's a collection of that talent there. But the fact that we're able to put these tools out there, connect people around the globe, that's really what's important to us, is that we want to empower all of these individuals to have these tools at their fingertips and make great creative content.
100%. Dan, thank you.
You got it.